Deputy Mitchell. 30 seconds to
The question is to ask the Minister for Children and Youth Affairs if she can outline a planned time frame for the beginning of the excavation works at the site of the mother and baby home site in Tuam, and what is the draft legislation required in advance of the project, and was there any other offers of financial contributions?
Minister.
Thank you, Deputy. The Government agreed on an approach to dealing with the site of the mother and baby home in Tuam, County Galway, at its meeting 23rd of October last. I am committed to leading this project. It is my view that a phased approach will mean an informed and targeted approach to the forensic excavation of the available area. And in this way, the logical sequence of complex technical, legal, and forensic decisions will be grounded in real-time information emerging from the site as the work progresses. My proposals are based on offering compassion and dignity for the children who were interred in such a horrific manner on this site. As outlined in the expert technical group report, the circumstances in Tuam are unprecedented. And because of this, we need new or bespoke legislation to enable the necessary work to proceed. Exhumation is strictly controlled in law. It will take time to prepare and enact the new legislation, and we need to get it right. I am putting in place a small cross-departmental team to develop the legislation as a matter of priority. We will have a clearer picture on an overall time frame once the cross-departmental team has commenced its work. I started negotiations with the Bond Secure Order on a contribution to the costs of taking the proposed measures at the site in June. The order has willingly and constructively engaged with me, and an offer of €2.5 million has been made. To be clear, this is not a settlement offer relinquishing the order from any future liability. It offers no indemnity. I will revert to government to seek approval of the agreement in the coming weeks. I understand that this is a hugely important decision for all connected to the site in Tuam, most especially those who believe they may have a loved one buried there, and those now living close to the site. I am committed to ensuring that all the children interred at this site can have a dignified and respectful burial. It is only by taking the right actions now that we can truly demonstrate our empathy, compassion, and commitment towards the work of justice, truth, and healing for what's happened in the past, and most especially for those who were previously abandoned.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Mitchell.
Minister, thanks for your response, and I know we dealt with much of this before the recess, and again I want to commend the Minister and her department on the work done here. The decision taken is certainly the right one in my view. Minister, the Bond Secure Sisters announced that they would contribute to this important work. Can I ask you whether any similar contributions have been offered by other religious orders in terms of other sites, and if the Minister has officially received a response yet from the Vatican to the letter she wrote in August?
Minister.
Just in relation to your first question, I haven't sought for or received any contribution from any other religious orders. To be perfectly clear, the reason that we did this in this circumstance, it is specifically related to the site and the remains of the children in that site that were referred, knowledge of that, the evidence of that being referred to the government, and our response to that. That's what I looked for resources for. I have not looked for resources in relation to any other things that have gone on in that home or any other home, because it's not until the Commission of Investigation reports. In relation to my communication with the Pope and the Vatican, what I would say is no, I have not heard anything back yet, but that we are making inquiries in relation to that communication through our new ambassador to the Vatican, who's just being appointed this week.
Thanks, Minister, for your reply. I just think it's a bit disappointing that you haven't got any acknowledgement yet from the Vatican. I just want to put that on the record here. I also want to note, Minister, that you have committed to updating the House on this issue, and that indeed is welcome. In terms of other suspected burial sites at other mother and babies' homes, now I know the Commission's report is due out early next year, but can the Minister tell us if she thinks this process at Tuam is going to be a blueprint for how we deal with similar sites? And so can the Minister tell us whether, in her view, that this is the beginning of a process that will be develop beyond Tuam.
Alan
Thank you,
Farrell.
Deputy. Specifically
Sorry,
in relation
Deputy-
to the burial
Sorry, Minister. Deputy
issues.
Minister, sorry.
Okay,
Deputy
sorry.
Farrell was.
Oh, excuse
Sorry,
me.
apologies.
Sorry, Minister. Thank you for the question, Deputy Mitchell. It's obviously very pertinent given the discussion we had at committee yesterday. And my very question was, Minister, I understood that you attended a conference where it was widely discussed the legislative impact that this proposed legislation may have on other sites. And I wonder if you might offer some clarity to the House. And also a question as Chair of your committee, of the Line Committee, presumably this bill that you're proposing to bring to us will be before the Children's Committee, and if so, when do you expect to present that bill to the House? Thank you.
Minister, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Indeed. In relation to, yes, I was at an extraordinary conference in Boston there last week, bringing together a lot of top-class Irish and some international scholars, and it was a real, it was a privilege to be there, and I learned a lot, and taking into account a lot of what I've heard in terms of as we move forward. In terms of the legislation itself, and the, you know, is that, will that form the basis perhaps of a use of a template or a model potentially for other sites should that be required? I expect that it could be. I hope that it will be. I think that's a decision obviously that has to be made once the people gather together to begin to develop the approach, but it seems a reasonable one. And then secondly, in relation to the, in terms of the committee, perhaps it will be the Children's Committee. You know, this is the issue, is that the legislation actually that will be created, you know, has to do with justice issues primarily. As well as obviously coming in the context of the mother and baby home. So I think that will again be decided in the context of the development of the legislation.